know if this is working yet. Why is my OBS doing this to me? Alright. Let me try to get this working for 1 second. Because I thought this was going to work better. Last time I did this, it just worked. Let's do for that. Get a full display capture up. Okay. Move that down. See if that works. Alright. I think that did it. Cool. I think we're gaming. We did it. We figured it out. Yeah, I don't usually stream. So this is a pretty out of nowhere one. I decided, hey, I would like to stream tonight. I would like to play some games. And maybe nobody will tune in. Or maybe everyone will tune in. Wouldn't that be crazy? If everyone in the entire world tuned into this. Are we at 8 billion people yet?
The right heroes could make
I think 8 billion people will watch this. Oh, my boy Star Wars.
Someone's got to guard the galaxy. Yeah. Might as well be me.
I might have to switch to cop if nobody else does the tank. Where's post on Twitter? I'm live. Talking DC, Marvel, I'm playing my rivals. Hey, we did it. We did it. Alright. Okay. Ow.
I found
my leg.
out here in space, and I'll do
Yeah, I don't know why I'm streaming. Like, there's not been a whole lot of Marvel or DC news. Nothing really to warrant like a major live stream. I think like the main thing we've got going on for us at the moment is that Warner Bros is getting sold, which isn't kind of news. We've known Warner Bros is getting sold for, I don't know, like, I want to say at least a year and a half now. There have been a lot of rumors saying that they're getting sold and somebody's gonna buy them and stuff like that. But I think that the main thing is when that happens. Oh, we already got disconnect. Every time there's a disconnect, it's never on the enemy team. It's always on my team. We love that. But yeah, bad time for Warner Bros. Get sold because DC just started a new universe. And if DC gets rebooted again, that probably is not going to be good for like the fan retention. I feel like fans are losing goodwill towards it. But then at the same time, you gotta deal with the fact that the wider general audience has never really been on DC's back. You know, not the same way they have with Marvel. It's kind of always been a thing. Ooh, am I getting beat up? Also, I'm gonna be terrible at this game. I barely played Marvel Rivals in the last like 4 months. I got back on it when Daredevil got added last week, and I do not super enjoy the Daredevil gameplay. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he was gonna be like a new main, but I played it a few times with my friends, and I was like, you know what? I think I just prefer being Star Wars. And I'm not even good at Star Wars. Can't run away. Why does he run away for? Who's on them? Alright, they're dead anyway. Ooh. I'm down, man. But yeah, no, a lot of people are saying, like, you know, Superman has been successful, so it does make a lot of sense for whoever buys WB to change a whole lot. But I think the thing is that the reason why Gunn and Safran got full control for the DCU, which was not what happened with, you know, Snyder and Hamada and all the last people who were in charge of DC, was because things went so badly for the last group that they were like, okay, we need somebody in charge who's like a Feige from Marvel, and that's what Gunn was. but I think whoever comes in, they're probably not gonna buy Warner Bros. With the intention of keeping everything the same. I think it's probably gonna be not a clean house situation, but a very much we need to get involved with every part of this company and change things up. Like, I would be surprised if Warner Bros. Got bought and nothing changed for DC. And I mean, Gunn's even kind of already been, you know, testing the waters with this, where he's been saying like, oh, I might not be around to fulfill the rest of my plan, because his contract I think is up in 2026, the current contract he signed, so he wants to be around to do things after next year of DC, but he's already sort of testing those waters and saying like, hey, I don't know if I'm gonna be around to do that sort of stuff, which probably isn't good. Damn Daredevil. Damn Daredevil. Look at this. Yo, Water Sports. Hey Darren, what's up? Thanks for joining the stream, buddy. We need to do a stream again sometime soon, Darren. It's been a while. What was the last one we did? Pretty recent actually. Over on your thing we did a Civil War and Ant-Man for your MCU retrospective. But yeah, I mean, like, Gunn's contract is up before even Man of Tomorrow is scheduled to come out, so I wonder what the intention there is with him. Is if like, if somebody buys Warner Bros. And they tell Gunn his time's up, like they want somebody else in charge, they want one of their own people in charge, and then I don't know if, you know, he's gonna make a deal with them where he'll be like, look, let me just stick around for a year so I can get whatever the next Peacemaker related thing is, and so I can get Man of Tomorrow out and then I'll step down. Or if it's like he's gonna try and have Man of Tomorrow ready to go by late next year so that they're only in like post-production, because like the script is already, you know, done. Obviously they're gonna have to put through a couple more drafts of that, but they already have a pretty solid script for it. Well, we don't know if it's solid, but they already have a script on it. Oh, let me get him. No. I feel like there's a bot team, right? There's no way I'm playing this solid after being terrible at the game for 4 months. They're definitely putting me in bot lobbies now, for sure. I'll test the waters at the end of the game and type in the chat, see if anybody from the enemy team replies. Because I know I'm an ace. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. What's our thing? Yep. I doubt they will sell, not gonna lie. I think they have to though, right? Because, like, I don't know. I don't know the specifics of how they're doing money-wise this year. I just remember... Oh, no, my dog. Oh, thank you so much for that. I just remembered, like, last year and the year before, there was such a problem with them not being able to release movies because they didn't have enough money to market them. Like, that was a big deal with 2022 when Shazam was supposed to come out in December after Black Adam came out in October, but because they couldn't afford to market them, they had to push Shazam to December, or to April of the following year, or March of the following year, I think, and they just could afford to put out the... I always get mixed up between the two Harry Styles films. Don't Worry Darling, I forget which one was one of those. But whichever one of those came out, it was like that and Black Adam were the only films they could afford to put out in the back half of the year. He's Daredevil then. I only played him in 2 games. He was... It takes a lot to learn him, and I don't know if... I don't play the game enough, I think, to spend time to learn him, whereas I know Star-Lord and Cloak and Dagger and Jeff and Captain America enough. Which I know Jeff and like Star-Lord are pretty easy characters to learn, which is why I know them. But if I spent the time to learn him, I'm sure he would be a good character. And I've seen other people, like 9 times out of 10 when I'm getting my ass beat in games lately, it's because somebody else is using Daredevil. So obviously if you learn him, you know what you're doing. But I don't know what I'm doing it now. That was a waste of an ult. That was an absolute waste of an ult. Should have timed that better. Ooh. Thank you for the healing. And we also had the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 10th, not 10th anniversary, was it 13th anniversary panel, 12th anniversary panel at New York Comic Con, where I think it was Ming-Na, Chloe Bennett, and Clark Gregg were at it, and they were talking a lot. And what did Clark Gregg say? He was like, "We're canon, fuck you," or something hilarious like that. Which they are canon. That's a cool panel. I definitely fell into the. I try not to get swept up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. related rumors anymore. About like, oh, they're coming back. You know, this is it. They're finally coming back this time, because I know they never are, or at least, you know, not anytime soon. But I definitely got swept up in the. Who said that? The dark. Oh, was that the enemy team who said that? Ah, maybe they weren't bots. Oops. MVP first game. What was I saying? I'm getting sidetracked by my own conversation. Been their best year in years, if I remember correctly. With 2 months years. No, that's completely right. Yeah, no, I completely forgot most of those films were Warner Bros. Like, a Minecraft movie, what did that make? Did that make $1 billion? Or it at least got very close, which is, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Minecraft is a huge, huge property. It makes complete sense they got that made, and that it made that much money. And then Sinners and Weapons were both huge surprises. Like, I think Weapons had one of the biggest horror film openings in a long time. Or one of the most surprising anyway, like most profitable ones, where I don't want to always pick DPS because I feel like that's selfish. But yeah, like Weapons did crazy. I only watched that for the first time last weekend, I think, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I thought Julie Garner and Josh Brolin and Olin Henrik, they were all great in it. Which I was like looking into that, and pretty much that entire cast changed because it had been delayed so long. Like Julia Garner's character was supposed to be the actress that I'm blanking on the name from, which she was in Worst Person in the World or something like that, a film that did really well, got nominated for a lot of Oscars a few years ago. And then Pedro Pascal was supposed to play, I think it was Josh Brolin's character he was supposed to play, and then, or maybe he was supposed to play Alden Ehrenreich's character. But they had a lot of big cast tied to it, and a lot of them had to drop out because it was being delayed so long. Like Pedro Pascal had to drop out because of Fantastic Four. And it's cool that despite all those delays and despite the constant cast changing, because I'm sure that affected the script, that it still came out as good as it was. And then Sinners as well, obviously, was also just unbelievable. One of the best films of the year, easily. I didn't see that for a while. I saw it in cinemas like a week before I left, and I loved it. And I was surprised how little of that film I got spoiled. Like, I knew about the big twist, but I expected to be less surprised at a lot of it. But it's such a stylistic film. The way that they showed the music transitioning through time and everything else, and the acting was fantastic. I really hope that film doesn't get snubbed at next year's Oscars, because that is one thing when a film gets released early on in the year, a lot of the time it gets forgotten about by the Academy by the time the Oscars roll around in the following year, which is why you see a lot of main Oscar pushed films release in October, November, December sort of time, or like they push them for film festivals around this time. Minecraft has 957 million. Yeah. And then, yeah, video on demand and merch and the social media presence. Like, that is one thing as well about Warner Bros. This year, is that, social media and how well your film is doing over there is so crucial to how well your film does. And I would say that the 3 biggest films of the year in terms of social media were Sinners, Minecraft, and Superman. Like, you had the whole punk rocker song being used in every edit on TikTok known to man, and then the chicken jockey thing from Minecraft was everywhere. Like, it's they kind of had the internet on lock this year, Yeah, turn domino. I hope so. I really hope it does. It healers, I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Cannot let them claim victory.
I'm also dead, bro.
On your toes. Here they come.
Glory is almost yours.
We're also winning, like, easily, you know? If we were losing like crazy, I would feel a little bit more like, shit, sorry, I'll get on the ball. But we're pretty easily winning, I feel like it's, you know, give me a little bit more. So also, 3,000 healing for almost a finished round is not good like that. I am doing terribly.
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
I wonder how good the quality for this is. Oh, yeah, Wicked 2. That was another film that dominated social media last year. Was Wicked Part 1. So Wicked Part 2 will definitely do that again. I'd say, especially with, you know, a lot of the more major Wizard of Oz connections. I feel like it's gonna have a little bit more eyes on it. And yeah, the fact that Wicked Part 1 was it a Best Picture nominated film last year? I know it was nominated for a couple things, but wasn't Best Picture one of them? So they're definitely going to push for Part 2 to be nominated for Best Picture as well. And that's going to give it a strong little hand. I think I'm actually seeing that in the US this year. I'm going to be in the US when that comes out. And that might be the first time I ever saw it out, like in a cinema outside of Ireland. It's going to be crazy. I didn't even like Wicked Part 1 that much.
4, 3,
What?
2,
We'll talk one day.
1.
You the last person I knew to
All
talk
you
to
need to
Mal
do is
TV
capture the
Olympic.
mission
Hey, thanks
area.
man, so much. I really appreciate it.
When will these madmen learn that
I was not rewatching them, but I was revisiting a lot of stuff from Cloak and Dagger and Runaways, and a lot of that era of Marvel TV recently. I still have that Marvel Netflix push in my head from when Daredevil came out. God, I botched that up so bad. Genuinely. I could not have had a worse ult there. And I'm just running into the enemy team. My team hates to see me coming because they know nothing's gonna happen. But yeah, still got the Netflix hype in my head from Born Again earlier on this year. Rewatched all the Netflix shows for the first time since most of them came out. And Daredevil season 3, man, that season of TV is just magnificent. Like, for a long time, I was always saying things like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 4, season 5, some Flash seasons, some Arrow seasons were like easily the best comic book TV seasons I've seen in my life. But I rewatched Daredevil season 3, and I was like, I just don't see how there's anything better than it in the comic book medium. Like, even when we consider they destroyed him. Even when it comes to movies, you know, I don't think a lot of things are better than Daredevil season 3. It's just beautiful. Like I mean, Born Again. I love that we got Born Again back. The fact we're you know, it's properly in the MCU now, where we're seeing characters from the MCU show up. We're getting a lot of those really cool tie-ins, and we're hearing things like the people involved in Marvel saying that Daredevil Born Again season 2 is going to tie in with Spider-Man Brand New Day. Things that we only dreamt about back when these shows were coming out. Is insane. But at the same time, there's part of me that's always going to be like, I wonder what a proper Daredevil season 3 with all of that cast and crew back in the day would have looked like. Because rewatching it, there are so many little characters that show up in the season, like Lord Darkwind in the final episode, who's a supervillain that's related to Wolverine in the comics. And you know, there's like Rosalie Carbone, who's a Punisher character, shows up late on in the season. A lot of these little characters that it definitely feels like they would have been crucial for a 4th season of the show. And on top of that, we would have seen things like Luke Cage now being in charge of his part of New York. How maybe he would have been dealing with stuff like Kingpin taking over and we could have seen things from his point of view if we ever got a Luke Cage season 3, an Iron Fist season 3 with a lot of that sort of stuff where he had the
30 seconds
the
before you attack.
is he talking to
Get
me?
ready.
Take Iron. I don't know. I'm doing terribly, so he might be.
I feel a kinship with you,
Uh,
Namor.
Bella,
The seas
OMG.
are full of
Might.
darkness and chaos.
Sorry, I got confused and didn't pay attention to some shots.
We have to protect it at all costs.
The Spider-Man horror movie, the trailer, like,
The battle starts in
oh, I
5,
need your honest opinions. I'll check that out. I will check that out.
2, 1.
Oh, Essential, not named for it in a while. Luke, the fact you're in the
Got it?
on your old channel is crazy, man. It's good to see you. Daredevil season 3 and Age season 4 peak. Yeah, I think when it comes to Marvel TV, I think my trinity of Marvel TV seasons are Daredevil season 3, Agents of Shield season 4, and Loki season 2. I still think Loki season 2 is like the peak of Spider-Man's beating my ass. Of what Disney Plus has been able to set. Not by cosplay point again, I'm just hating that the Daredevil, just hate on it. Daredevil Born Again season 2 will be peak, we must trust. Yeah, no, I've got a lot of faith in them. Like we saw what they could do in the last couple episodes of the season. Like we definitely saw, you know, some hope for what a season 2 can be, and I do hope that it's gonna be better than season 1. Not that I hated season 1, I thought it was mostly very passable with some great stuff, but it was not what I personally was hoping the show would be. And part of me is a little annoyed that you know, that they put out a season that was as messy as that, because yeah, they had to deal with a lot of behind the scenes issues. They had to remake the show. But this is also Disney, you know, one of the most profitable, money-filled companies on the planet. If anyone could have thrown more money at a show to reshoot the entire thing and to make sure they are putting out the best quality possible, they were the ones who could have done it. God, I'm doing terrible. But yeah, I hope season 2 will be, you know, far more the way season 1 should have been the whole way through, without a lot of the issues that plagued season 1. And surely it will be where we won't have a lot of God, I am absolutely murdered Wolverine. Thank you, Mantis, for putting Wolverine to sleep. Yeah, we lost this one. Damn, I can't wait to get absolutely told off in the chat playing terribly. Maybe I just shouldn't play healers. We also had that thing that Brad Winterbottom said at New York Comic Con, where he was like, everybody who's judging the season is wrong, or something, or he was like, the people on Twitter and YouTube who are talking about what was reshot and what wasn't reshot are wrong. Now, they don't understand what was actually reshot and what wasn't, but to me that's kind of a worrying thing to say, because a lot of the things that people were saying they really liked about the season were things we assumed were reshot. And a lot of the things people were saying they didn't like about the season were things we assumed weren't reshot. So if we were wrong about all of that, and it turns out that the good parts of the season that we all loved were actually from the old crew, then doesn't that set us up for maybe some worrying things for season 2? I feel like I play best when I Star Wars, so I'm gonna try it. Unless we need healers and tanks. True. I imagine there was probably a lot of heat in the television division for just having these shows whose budgets were just so overly inflated in the COVID era. Yeah, no, that was crazy. I was looking up TV shows with the biggest budgets there earlier on this year, and Secret Invasion was like 300 million for the 6-episode TV show. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law had an insane number. Loki did as well, which I'm a little bit more forgiving about Loki because I think the writing quality was so good, but there just wasn't a lot of proof in She-Hulk's production quality or Secret Invasion's production quality. Even writing aside, like just production-wise, these shows didn't look like they were Like they had the budget that they did.
You're a famous
And
pop star, right?
I think it's definitely a case where a lot of the money that was being put inside a lot of these shows in the COVID era were going to hire producers or executive producers, or were paying Disney heads through saying that it was budget for a TV show. And
Battle starts in 5,
it's just baffling to me.
3,
But like that's proof that they have the money to put into these shows. And yes, they're definitely scaling back now. They're trying not to put in as much now. They're trying to be a little bit more cost effective. Especially since unfortunately Marvel is not doing nearly as well as they used to in the movies. Not quality wise, because I thought Thunderbolts was one of the best Marvel films of all time. And I thought Fantastic Four, while I didn't love it, I thought it was a really good film. They didn't, you know, the general audience didn't necessarily show up for those films. Thunderbolts, I think, is like the 3rd worst highest grossing Marvel film of all time. I think the only films that are behind it are The Incredible Hulk and The Marvels. And Black Widow was in there as well, but you can forgive Black Widow for not only coming out during the height of COVID, but also coming out at the same time on Disney+. But like, the fact people didn't show up for Thunderbolts, which got really good critical reviews, had a really good cast, you know, like a fairly popular cast in terms of Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, David Harbour, and it didn't make the money that it was anywhere close to older Marvel films. Is kind of a big showing for how they're doing, and I think that that's definitely coming true in the TV shows now, where they're trying not to spend as much because they're trying to recoup the costs of the films. But even then, I'm not necessarily saying that the production quality would have improved Daredevil. I think it just needed stronger writers, and the only production thing I thought should have been better was the fog and like the grey haze that was in front of 90% of the shots. That was really disappointing to me, that so many of scenes that could have looked amazing were hidden behind like the grey shots. Like the opening sequence with oh, that's gonna get me. With Daredevil versus Bullseye could have looked amazing if it wasn't hidden behind the grey. I'm gonna die. Ooh, I'm on 1 health. Is there a heal thing in here? Yeah. If I didn't have that fog covering it. Ooh, it's the start of the 1v1. I can get it. Ooh, almost had in though. Andor was up there as well. Probably you can see that. Yeah, Andor, you can definitely see it in the writing and the production. Andor is one of those shows that does feel like it has the production value. Like, look at the middle arc in season 2, set on Ed Gorman, with you know, I think a lot of that was done on the volume and was done on sets, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like you're outside. It feels like you're actually on location in these places. Whereas a lot of the Marvel Disney stuff and a lot of like the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan stuff feel like they're on volume, feel like they're on sets inside. God, Andor is a marvel of television. Like it's one of the most perfect TV shows I've ever seen in my life. The fact that that came out of Star Wars, which has had a pretty troubling production, or not production, but just pretty troubling quality of the last few years, is amazing. Ooh, wait, Daredevil as you follow me. But it'll be really interesting to see how Avengers Doomsday does next year. Because I feel like, oh, he's gonna aim at me. That was gonna jump down there to stop him from getting the kill. Because if Avengers Doomsday makes anywhere less than $1 billion, I feel like that'll be the proof that Marvel might be cooked in terms of making money. Because Deadpool and Wolverine made a lot of money, but I feel like that's an outlier because Deadpool is the kind of character that a lot of people are going to see whether they're Marvel fans or not. And you also had Hugh Jackman back to Wolverine. I don't know if I could do any damage. Her name was a little double thing. Oh, damn. She's on me. She did. Here's that homework argument with Thunderbolts. Like, it's a project that had elements. Black Widow, Falcon and the Soldier, and that too, and Hawkeye, and that was intimidating. No, I completely agree with that. which is,
Sweet moves,
I
right?
feel like a hypocrite, because I definitely think the homework argument is valid. You know, like one of my friends, he's only just now catching up on a lot of the Marvel Disney Plus shows. But I remember when we would go back and see things like Black Widow or Doctor Strange 2, he hadn't seen the TV shows that were related to a lot of these characters showing up. And it was definitely a case of like, well, I'm not super interested in the TV shows, I'm just going to go see the movies when they come out. And I can see a lot of people just getting, not alienated by that, but definitely getting the vibe of, this isn't really for me anymore. There's a lot of extra stuff out there that I have to watch just to... MVP again, damn. Maybe I just always play Star-Lord. But so like I get it from the general audience's point of view for that, but at the same time I kind of loved that Thunderbolts built on so many elements of Marvel that felt like they were forgotten, because it definitely felt like the Phase 4, Phase 5 era was filled with a lot of things that were getting introduced and we never know when they were getting followed up on. And I was really happy we saw characters like John Walker back or Ghost back for this, because it, you know, I wanted to see them again. I wanted to see where they were at in the Marvel universe, since we hadn't seen Ghost since Ant-Man 2 and John Walker since Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then we had, obviously, Yelena back. We had Yelena and Hawkeye, but mainly hadn't seen Yelena since Black Widow, and then hadn't seen Alexi since Black Widow either. We can't do knee attack. All right, I'll go for that.
Freedom's an idea that will never die.
I like they made the billions, but maybe not as easily as people think. I was saying 2 billion are kind of crazy. Oh. Yeah, no. I completely agree. Honestly, I
Сейчас все
think...
будут сосать, я тебе отвечаю, ёпта, ну как они будут заглатывать?
Somebody shouting in the chat. How do I mute
Как они
people?
будут сейчас заглатывать? Я предлагаю после этой катки пойти покурить.
Alright.
Куда пойти?
You guys get, you know
Покурить.
what? I'm gonna turn down the volume.
Пойти покурить.
I don't want people not knowing what they're gonna say, getting blasted in the stream.
Сказать, что мы сейчас придем.
Alright, lower to that. Yeah, I think Spider-Man is going to be a really good indicator as well, because Spider-Man is another one of those characters where it's similar to Deadpool, but to a lesser degree, where a lot of people who aren't super into a lot of other Marvel-related stuff love Spider-Man and would love to see what a new Spider-Man film is. So I think Spider-Man is going to do well, and I think the fact that Spider-Man now comes out right before Doomsday is probably a huge merit to Doomsday, or a huge advantage to Doomsday, where people are going to probably see a post-credit scene in Spider-Man Brand New Day that leads straight into Doomsday, with Spider-Man having a lot of eyes on it. That's probably going to get people going, oh, now I need to watch Doomsday. But I also think, you know, Tom Holland's Spider-Man probably isn't in Doomsday. They're probably going to save him for Secret Wars. I said Secret Invasion. But I think, you know, the best thing Marvel can probably do, but I know Sony probably has a huge say in this as well, with it being their character, is to put a fairly sizable Doomsday scene at the end of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Because, you know, if those films don't make a lot of money, the days of getting huge Avengers films are definitely going to be over. There should have been a smaller Avengers film that came out before this, one that really set up the new team. Because the fact now we're going into, you know, the Thunderbolts haven't really been a team yet, and now they're already the new Avengers. And we have not seen Sam Wilson's Avengers, like his Captain America's Avengers team yet. So the fact we're now going into no more time for the Thunderbolts Avengers, and Sam Wilson, Captain America, already has his Avengers, and oh, I'm the only one here. Fuck. And now they're both going to be in the same film, along with the Fantastic Four, who literally just got introduced, as well as all of those old X-Men characters. It's going to be a lot to handle, and I feel like we needed an extra film to, even without the Thunderbolts Avengers, just to set up who is on Sam Wilson's Captain America team. And I do feel like it's pretty obvious who is on the team just based off of the chair reveal. Like, you can probably make the the pretty easy jump there that you've got Paul Rudd's Ant-Man, you've got Joaquin Torres's Falcon, you've got Shuri's Black Panther. A lot of these characters you can definitely draw conclusions, but also we have not seen a lot of these characters properly interact. Like, yeah, Shuri and Scott Lang were in the same films. We had, like, I don't know, when they first met in Ant-Man, like, you had Sam Wilson and Scott Lang meet in Ant-Man, and then they continue that in Civil War. But, like, Joaquin Torres hasn't met any of these characters. Shuri's barely met these characters. Like, she was in the same films at them, but in terms of, one-on-one scenes, there wasn't really a lot of them. So I feel like we needed a film that showed us a lot of those kind of scenes with these characters interacting, how they work as a team, before we're straight away jumping into them being with everyone. But hey, that's just my opinion. Maybe everyone disagrees. God damn it, I can't. I don't have the reach. I don't have the reach. Oh, damn, another whole team's back. I probably shouldn't have pushed ahead there. But I held them back so our team could push down. Where is company well? Who is the company? I'm confused. Man, a movie with Spider-Man, Hulk, Punisher in 2017-19 would easily be 1 to 2 billion. Brie Larson and you see the Brie Larson and Jeremy? No, I haven't. What's the Brie Larson and Jeremy Renner video? But yeah, a Spider-Man Hulk Punisher movie, if that came out, right after Avengers Endgame, right after, because Avengers Endgame came out the same year the Punisher season 2 did. You do all that at the same time, that would have been crazy. That would have been done a lot of money. I also think Spider-Man's gonna be interesting to see how a general audience, you mean company in the game chat? That's probably what you meant. I was like, what? Is somebody in my room that I didn't know about? But yeah, like the Punisher films from, the Dolph Lundgren one from 1989, and the Thomas Jane one from 2004, and then the Ray Stevenson one, rest in peace, from 2008, Punisher Warzone. Quality aside, those films didn't do super well. So it'd be interesting to see how like a general movie audience would feel about Punisher today. And I think Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to be good to see that. Like, you're going to see a lot of people who haven't watched Daredevil Born Again or haven't watched the Punisher Netflix show. Damn, Jeff, where you at? Who are going to watch this film and be like, oh, Punisher is a really cool character. Or are they going to be like, I don't like Punisher as a character. I thought he took away from this film. Ooh, I'm going to die again. Also, my whole team is gone again. Ooh, where am I? Ah! Thank you for the healing. Yeah, I survived that. And Jeremy was in some kind of radio podcast show, and Brie Larson called in and asked if he was in Avengers 2, and he's like, oh no, I did see that. Yes. I saw the clip of it, of what Jeremy Renner said. I didn't know that Brie Larson was the one who called in. That's really cool. But no, I did see that. I could see it, but I think him being in the film depends on if Kate Bishop is in the film. I don't think we're going to see him in the film if Kate Bishop isn't. And I know that we're supposed to be getting the Champions, as well as like the heavy rumors that we're getting them soon. But I think they're probably going to save them for Doomsday. So I think it would depend on if maybe Doomsday ends with setting up that, you have Kamala Khan, Kate Bishop, and Riri Williams needed for whatever the next film is. And I could see Clint being there briefly as like a, Kate, you got to go work with them. Like, you were, like, there's nobody else here. You were the Avengers now. I could definitely see that. All right. This was just it. Jeez, man. Don't gotta say easy that much. This is a brief stream. I think I'm gonna call it there. I just want to play some games and chat some Marvel DC for a bit. But hey, thank you, people who showed up. Darren, I appreciate you like always. You're the greatest. Luke as well. It's great to see you there. And C Movie Studios. I'll definitely check out that Spider-Man horror trailer. That sounds awesome. thank you so much for joining on this, and I hope my horrific gameplay didn't ruin your night. Maybe it did, and if that happened, well, I'm sorry. Contact my lawyer, and he'll get you some compensation. All right, have a good night, everybody. Oh, I thought it would just end. Never mind. Wait, I think Carl 100% is in it, especially with where we left Monica in the recent confirmation that needed cause. Yeah, absolutely. I think two of the biggest characters who I'm so surprised weren't in the chair reveal are Carl and Monica. Like, considering how the Marvels left off, I think they have to be. I don't think they're two characters you can have sit out this one and show up again in Secret Wars. I think they've either got to be in Doomsday, or